We got through the NFL, got through the NBA. And listen, I just want to take a shout out to the family. To the family. Once again, man, all those that continue to support the product, man, y'all know what not to do. Y'all know not to quit and follow the script and continue to follow us on Spotify, Anchor, Spreaker, Google Podcast, man, to continue to give you everything you need. They're my motivation, like I always say, man. I just try to handle my biz so I can take care of my future kids. That's what all this is about to me. You know, building a legacy, building something that, you know, my future kids, they can be proud of. So, yo, listen, I appreciate everyone that has continued to support the product that is the Playbook Podcast. Yo, before we get into college basketball, the news, the rumors, what's been going on, I got to go ahead and give y'all the answer to this very unusual trivia question of the day. So the trivia question of the day was, yo, which two NFL teams combined for one season during the 1943 season because they both lost so many players to World War II military service? Again, which two NFL franchises combined to become one team during the 1943 season because they both lost so many players to World War II military service? The answer? The Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers formed for one season only during 1943 to be called the Steagles. I'm glad it was only one season, y'all. That's the worst, probably the worst name I've ever heard of in my entire life when it comes to sports. Professional sports, that is. The Steagles? What is it? A mix-up between a seagull and an eagle? Bro, they should have tried again when it came to that name with the Steelers and the Eagles that season. I mean, I know it was the 40s, but still, come on, y'all. I really wish y'all could have been a little bit more creative. I'm just saying. That's just me, you know. But I digress. It was for one season, 1943. It was the Eagles and the Steelers combining to be called the Steagles during 1943 while World War II was happening. They had lost so many different players, so they just combined to form one team during the 1943 season. So, crazy trivia question of the day. I probably wouldn't have known it if I really didn't look more in depth into a crazy, unusual question, but that was the answer for today. The Steagles were formed for one season only during 1943. Yo, speaking of teams with some crazy names, Coastal Carolina has a crazy name as well. Coastal Carolina, yo, they really did their thing in college football this season as well. The Chanticleers. The Chanticleers. Look, I don't understand the name like that for the life of me. I don't even know what a Chanticleer is. Can listen? Can y'all understand? Y'all, maybe we need to look up what a Chanticleer is. What is a Chanticleer? What really is a Chanticleer? Because I don't understand where that name came from. I don't know if it's really one of their words or whatever the case might be, but it looks like a rooster. So I guess it's just a rooster, but they just kind of giving it a fancy name. But speaking of Coastal Carolina, one of their star basketball players, Devonta Jones, he's heading and transferring to Michigan to play for the Wolverines. He was their Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year last year. My man was putting up buckets. I mean, he was getting it done. I mean, 6'1" junior, about 205 pounds. My man, 19 points a game, 7.2 rebounds from the guard position. About 2 assists per contest as well. My man was getting it done on the court. Now he's going to Ann Arbor to play with Juwan Howard and the Michigan Wolverines. That should be a nice pickup for Michigan within the transfer pool that's going to really help elevate that team, especially after coming up short in the NCAA tournament. Had a couple of other different things in the news-wise in college basketball as well. Commit, number one commit, Amani Bates, he had committed to Michigan State to be a Spartan. I would have loved it. But young boy, he decided that, hey, I don't want to commit to Michigan State and Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo's been scouring after a talent like him since he was in middle school. Now my man's about to be an upcoming senior, and he's like, listen, the G League might look a little promising right now, especially with a whole bunch of money on the line. I could take care of myself. I could take care of my family as well. He decides to decommit from Michigan State, and it looks like all signs do point towards him being a part of that G League elite group, just as we seen last season in the bubble with guys like Jalen Green, Kumunga as well, and guys like that. Really, I want to get paid, especially with the NCAA still not willing to give these guys what they're due. I'm out here putting my blood, sweat, and tears on the line in reference to the college basketball sport, and I'm still not getting compensated for it when the NBA has this system now where I can do my thing, I can play on the next level for a year or so, or a couple of months, 5 or 6 months, and get paid between $50,000 to $75,000. I'm a young guy. I take that deal, especially playing on one of the greatest athletic spots on the planet, which is the NBA. It gets me one step closer to my ultimate dream, and I don't have to worry about the whole parameters of college sports and all of that. Now listen, I still advise every athlete of this magnitude, go to school, because the NBA is not promised to everybody. It's really not. Any crazy injury could be the end of your career. Think about LaMarcus Aldridge. He's been having irregular heartbeats for a long time, and he's finally retired from the NBA. Of course, he's had a long career, but still, at any point in time, any injury could derail your whole life. Think about Paul George. He had the leg injury that, he snapped his leg, but he was able to come back from the injury. Of course, he's Paul George again, but still, young guys, just be mindful. It's not all rainbows and sunshine, and you're going to have to go through some tough things, some storms, if you will. So, Amani Bates, young guy, I want you to succeed. I definitely do. But just still think about the prospect of going to school and getting that degree and taking care of your life outside of basketball. We're going to take a quick break, y'all. We're going to finish and put the icing on top of the cake of another great episode of the Playbook Podcast. When we come back, I'm going to give you that championship speech to get your mind right, regulate your mind, and get you ready and pumped up for the week that is, all right? Take a quick break. Y'all know what time it is. Come on back to the Playbook Podcast. And we're back inside the Playbook Podcast, y'all. We're going to move and groove our way as we put a cherry on top of yet another great episode, man. Y'all continue to follow the Playbook Podcast on Spotify, on Anchor, on Spreaker, on Google Podcasts, and every one of your social or podcast needs, if you will, as we continue to produce a product that's going to reach the masses as we continue to expand our horizons, man. We're just taking a barbershop and making it into podcast, man. As much as this world is changing I mean, we love the barbershop talk. But sometimes we want to, we got a lot of things going on in life. We're busy. We're moving. And this podcast going to give you what you need from around the NBA, around the NFL, and around college basketball. Listen, I just want to give a shout out some more to my family. Also, my man Vern, Mr. Drop 30 Forever. I appreciate his push and his influence on this particular product because, sometimes you need people that are actually going to keep pressing your buttons to push you towards greatness. And I appreciate you, my man. I really do. Follow my man on IG, Mr. Drop 30 Forever. And him and his wife are blowing up in regards to their credit and their tax business. So y'all follow them. They will get you right. They'll get you straight when it comes to your credit and your taxes, man. Especially with us as African Americans, money means everything, but credit is power. And they'll help get you right. So follow my family, follow them on IG, and they'll get you right in regards to those services that we all desperately need. You know what I'm saying? So listen, y'all, before we get on up out of here, I got to give you guys the championship speech of the weekend. This week, I was really just in my thoughts like I always am. And I was really considering what exactly happens when, you don't have that drive. You don't have that motivation. You don't have that inner push. You know what I'm saying? That inner push to keep you moving, to keep you motivated and keep you in the right frame of mind with different goals that you have. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to look up the definition of drive. So the definition of drive, according to Britannica in psychology, is an urgent basic need for pressing for satisfaction, usually rooted in some psychological tension, deficiency, or imbalance. So a hunger and a thirst. So our drive is codependent on where we are within our mind, within our psyche as individuals. I mean, you see with different people, all right, they're bummed. They don't have that motivation, that motor, if you will, to keep going through with things in their life. And different people make different excuses, like we talked about earlier. You even make moves, or you make excuses. The most successful people in life, they find a way to make some type of move so they don't give themselves any type of excuse why they're not living the life that they truly desire to live. And my motivation to us today is find that drive, find that extra gear within your motor, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, because we all have family that's relying on us. Whether we're man, woman, boy, girl, somebody in this world needs what you have inside of you to help push them to their greatness. We all have different jewels, different gifts, different assets that we all bring to any table, like we talked about last week. Being a table setter. Really being a table setter, and not allowing everybody to always dictate how your table and your life is going to be. Stay driven this week, y'all. Stay driven. Whatever goals that you have, whether it's your business, whether it's just, your work, whatever job that you have, stay driven to over exceed whatever expectations that they might put on you, or even you might put on yourself. Because a lot of times we short sight ourselves on what we're able to do because of different insecurities that we all have, right? I mean, I keep it a buck with y'all. I mean, a lot of times I'm just not motivated or driven to do this all the time. Honestly, I'm not. But when you want to be successful in life, those are the times when you really have to push yourself beyond what your comfort level is. And staying driven is pushing yourself back past your certain regular